Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on which time you are watching this video. I am Professor Ruben Ramos, and this is another asynchronous class on superhero comic books in nowadays society. On our last class, we have stopped right here, the beginning of page 174 of Scott McCloud's book, and we will carry on now. So, this last time we were talking about the young artists or people who grew up with intentions of being professionally involved into comics and how some of them, give up on that pursuit for not feeling able to attend the needs of the market or for a feeling of do not belonging, so to speak. Let's get to the other side of this coin now. One of them is now ready to take the next step. She studied her craft all the way through high school and into college. Hold on, this. She's a good, hard-working student. I think I've really made a breakthrough. This is very good. So she masters the number 5 item, the craft. But when she shows her work to a seasoned pro, you're a skilled scripter and drafts person, but your storytelling isn't good enough. You have no sense of pacing. These layouts are very muddy. You have to compose your stories. Goop. Her skills can get her work at this point, but only as an assistant to others. Until she understands the structure of comics beneath the craft, this is as far as she can go. But maybe this is enough for this particular artist, enough to just be part of the art, business, and community of comics without necessarily calling the shots. But elsewhere, another creator has been through the same sort of process and he wants more. He spends his every waking hour working out the difficult principles of comics composition and storytelling, the kind they don't teach in books. Please try to get some sleep, honey. He discovers that his favorite artist was actually just a watered down version of an older, less polished artist whom he had always taken for granted. This guy was good. Was God, I'm sorry. He learns to see beneath the crafts and draftsmanship and scripting to see the whole picture. Pacing, drama, humor, suspense, composition, thematic development, irony. Soon they are all at his command. I've done it. I've learned all there is to know. So he mastered the structure. Issue number 4. This time I'll get my own book. I'm sure of it. Let's say it works. He does land his own book and soon is established as a creator of great skill. He understands comics storytelling better than most. That guy's art is all just surface, and he knows it. Wow. His work isn't particularly original. The critics don't pay much attention to him, but he makes a decent living for himself and his family. And that's enough for him. Enough that for what he does, he's one of the best. But another artist has made it through the same sorts of hurdles and reached the same levels of success and still isn't satisfied. She wonders if her success really means anything when there are so many others doing the same things in the same ways. She wants an identity. She believes that there's something more, some piece of the puzzle that she still hasn't found. She begins to invent new ways of showing the same old thing. She develops innovative new techniques and starts doing away with the same old thing altogether. And she creates her own personal idiom of comics. She finds the whole of her work changing to suit that idiom. Let's say that financial success and the respect of her peers soon follow. Hostility, rejection, and poverty are also possible, of course. I want to thank all of those who helped me to achieve my full potential. Young artists begin to imitate her style, but most of them only seem to appreciate the surface. Want to show me your portfolio? Could I? And maybe she'll be satisfied with that kind of success, secure in the knowledge that whatever she doesn't know, she's on the right path to find out. But elsewhere, another creator has made it to the same place and still feels dissatisfied. He feels that something very important has been neglected, something fundamental, something at the core of who he is as an artist. With these thoughts on his mind, it's only a matter of time before he asks that one simple question: why am I doing this? And again, we have the 6 steps which MacLeod believes are crucial to an object or a phenomenon to be considered art and to be praised as art, including comic books. And now, the biggest question of all: does this artist want to say something about life through his art, or does he want to say something about art itself? And do I have anything to say at all? Personally, I think we all have something to say to the world. The real question is, will anyone listen? And unfortunately, there is no way to know that in advance. Assuming he doesn't let that stop him, here's what these 2 choices could mean. Number 2, form. By choosing form, he'd be setting up to become an explorer. His goal: to discover all that the art form is capable of. And his art would not lack for ideas or for a purpose. His art would just become his purpose, and the ideas would arrive in time to give it substance. Creators who take this path are often pioneers and revolutionaries, artists who want to shake things up, change the way people think, question the fundamental laws that govern their chosen art. Such as examples we have McKay, Spiegelman, Harriman, Starrett, Mobius. In other art forms, Stravinsky, Picasso, Virginia Woolf, Orson Welles, etc. Number one, idea or purpose. On the other hand, if he chooses the first step as his goal, then his art becomes a tool, and the powers of that art will rely on the powers of the ideas within. Now, telling the story, or in the case of nonfiction, delivering the message, takes priority over invention, according to our way of thinking and considering art and art form. But telling a story as effectively as possible may require some invention. It often does. This is the path of great storytellers, creators who have something to say through comics and devote all their energies to controlling their medium, refining its ability to convey messages effectively, such as examples Schultz, Barks, Hergé, Eisner, Nakazawa. In other art forms, Capra, Dickens, Woody Guthrie, Edward R. Murrow, etc. Fortunately, this choice never has to be permanent. It can change as often as an artist changes projects. No work of art can be totally without content any more than it can exist without a form, but it does help to set some priorities. Here we have number one and number two. Hey, I'm driving. No, I'm driving. This is the problem in many assembly line comics where creative specialization has scripters, pencilers, and inkers all working at cross purposes in their attempts to get noticed, and inevitably they fail on that purpose. Not that we, creator, writer, artist types, never run into this problem. Damn, needed to have some more dialogue here, but I really want to draw that snazzy close-up. The more an artist devotes him or herself to either of these two focal points, the more dramatic the change if he/she decides to switch. Art Spiegelman's aggressively experimental work of the 70s and early 80s left no one prepared for the unassuming report style of his landmark biography Mouse, since it made the connection and the dialogue between idea and purpose and form in the same artwork. Perhaps, if striped down far enough, most artists' ultimate goals are not that different from anyone else's, even for those with high ideals. Basic instincts exert a powerful attraction. Survival, reproduction. And when art becomes a job or a matter of social status, the potential for confusing one's goals goes up considerably. But even if we take life's distractions into account, it's still amazing how much time and effort is spent by comics creators trying to get what they want out of comics before they even know what they want. Of course, not everybody takes the long way around. Some artists have no trouble setting goals and achieving them without any detours. Here's a story I drew about my dog Buster, especially if their goals are modest ones. idea, purpose, form, idiom, structure, craft, surface. Any artist creating any work in any medium will always follow these 6 steps, whether they realize it or not. All works begin with a purpose, however arbitrary. All take some form, all belong to an idiom, even if it's an idiom of one. All possesses a structure, all require some craft, all present a surface. And all aspects of comics have the potential for self-expression, even when economic survival is the artist's main concern. There is always room for a certain amount of art. But the more a creator learns to command every aspect of his or her art and to understand his or her relationship to it, the more artistic concerns are likely to get the upper hand. Idea, form, idiom, structure, craft, surface. In order of the 6 steps, the order, of the 6 steps is innate. Like the arrangement of bones in a dinosaur's skeleton, they can be discovered in any order, but when brought together, they will always fall into place. In practice, any aspect of comics may be the one which first draws an artist into its orbit. Still, the learning process for most artists is a slow and steady journey from end to beginning, from surface to core. And it's at the core of art that most important question is finally asked. Why am I doing this? When form rules the work, it may seem somewhat artificial, at the core like a seedless fruit. But such works don't take the shape of art for granted, and by questioning our fundamental assumptions, can anticipate a world of unknown experiences. While if ideas rule the work and determine its shape, comics can help plant those ideas far and wide, and the cycle can begin again. Grrr. Yee. And with that, we conclude chapter 7. I will stop right here and make the critical review slot available for you on Cigar. Thank you so much. We carry on with chapter 8 on our next asynchronous class. Bye bye.